Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Moiki, Swedish Whiskey Girl, and today we're here with quite a special Auchentoshan. Auchentoshan is of course a distillery located here in the Lowlands in Scotland, and it's a distillery that triple distilled their spirit instead of double distillation, which most distilleries do here in Scotland. Triple distillation is of course a little bit more common over in Ireland. And this here is the 1988 PX Sherry finished Auchentoshan. It sits at 49.7% ABV, and yeah, very excited to try this one. I think it's available for around £400 on Amazon at the moment, or I'm sure it might be on auction somewhere. But let's have a look on the nose. It's quite caramelly, like butterscotchy. Yeah, overly, like the dominant thing I'm getting is that kind of butterscotch caramel vibe. Almost with a hint of that kind of cherry almond notes, like marzipan or like almost towards like amaretto. Yeah, marzipan, caramel, and almost like amaretto. It's a very pleasant and very smooth sherry influence, but I really enjoy it. I mean, as you can see, there's just a tiny little bit left in the bottle, and Cody was lucky enough to get the last little bit from a friend, so perhaps it's a little bit less vibrant than it would be if you got it straight out of the bottle when it's just opened. For being at 49, I don't get a lot of the alcohol, and it's almost a little bit tricky to even get aromas out of the glass because they're quite like gentle. But let's have a little sip. Sláinte Skål. A lot more woody on the palate than I was expecting. But I mean, I think I forgot to say it's a 29-year-old, so quite an old whiskey. And you will expect quite a lot of woodiness on it because it's been in the cask for a really long time. I think it has this kind of nice, I'm assuming it's been an ex-bourbon before it was finished in the sherry casks, because it has this kind of bourbon-esque vibe that is quite oaky, and then it has a touch of the sherry influence, which is quite like less intense than if it was to be just a single cask, sherry cask expression, but they're quite gentle and quite enjoyable, just being quite soft. And I don't really feel the need to add any water to it, because it is quite easy drinking where it's sitting at the moment. I would say it's definitely on the woodier side of drams. If you like a wood influence that's quite, when it tastes a lot of oak or wood, then you might like this one. But the very gentle kind of soft sherry influence. It's of course interesting with Auchentoshan because they triple distill their spirits. It would be interesting to be able to try a spirit that might have been double distilled but aged in exactly the same way, to kind of see the differences. But Auchentoshan for me generally has a very kind of smooth character, and it's always quite interesting spirits because they are slightly different to a lot of the other distilleries in Scotland. And the 3 wood has been one of my favourite Auchentoshans for a long time because it has such a big influence of sherry maturation. But yeah, a little bit tricky to pick out anything else. Almost has like an apple note as well, so like apple pie, a bit almondy, so a little bit nutty, and then that big woodiness, but still being quite gentle and quite like a mist almost, because it's just quite a little bit colder and a little bit like quite airy and light. It almost has a bit of a honey note as well. There's a sweetness there definitely, but it's a little bit more murky, like murky honey. Definitely some spice there, more like cinnamon. Yeah, almost a bit Christmassy, I would say. Gentle and soft, but Christmassy. But woody. I mean, if you have a bonfire and sat with this dram, I'm sure that would be absolutely brilliant. Or just outside next to a bonfire. That woody influence. Interesting. I would of course love to hear your thoughts. Have you tried an Auchentoshan? Have you tried this from 1988? Or have you perhaps tried another of their expressions? They have, of course, their core range, and then they have some limited editions. And I know recently they kind of rebranded and got a little bit of a freshen up on their core range packaging. I'd of course love to hear your thoughts, so please put them in the comment section here below. And if you like what I'm doing here on YouTube and my other social channels, I'd be absolutely over the moon if you consider using my affiliate links the next time you're shopping with either Master Malt, the Whisky Exchange, or the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. All the information is of course in the little section here below, as well as links to my Teespring shop, my Instagram, my website, and my Patreon if you're curious about that. And as always, a massive thank you to my wonderful supporters on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and I'm so grateful you want to continue to support me on my whiskey journey. I hope you've all had an absolutely wonderful day. Sláinte Skål.